Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight is the 1995 leap to the big screen of the horror anthology TV series Tales from the Crypt. Hosted by the pun-living Crypt Keeper, it tells the tale of 7 strangers led by William Sadler, battling against the very forces of darkness led by Billy Zane. Character actors abound in this horror comedy filled with demons, temptation, and a shitload of gore. Will good survive the night, or will the denizens of Satan get their hands on the last key to plunge the world into endless night? Let's find out with my guests as we discuss Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight.
Tales from the Crypt.
Welcome, gentlemen, back to the channel.
Always fun to be here.
You know what? Fuck this cowboy shit. Fucking ho dunk.
Fuck this cowboy shit. You fucking ho dunk, po dunk, well then there, motherfuckers!
Oh God, I love Billy Zane. He's so good in this movie. He's just having
He's had peak Zane.
He is having a ball in this movie.
He is having because he looks like a cue ball in this movie.
A little
this
bit,
was
a little
his
bit.
bald coming out party.
It was. He went completely cue ball for this role.
Yes.
He looked damn good. Like,
He
Billy
looks
Zane
very
is a
good.
handsome man.
He's a very handsome man.
Yes.
I would almost say like pretty. He's a pretty guy.
He's a pretty man. This was one of my favorite behind the scenes stories. Just jumping into it,
Let's
right?
do it. Let's do it.
Was Billy Zane went to the audition? After he got the role, but he put a box on the table and he opened it for director Ernest Dickerson, and it had 3 wigs, and he said, "Which one do you want me to wear for this?" And Ernest Dickerson's like, "Well, none. What?" And he's like, "Oh, I just always had to wear hair, and I'm really bald."
Cookie time! Big cookie time! Archway cookies, would you like some now?
No, he pulls off that look rather well in this, and it fits
Oh, yeah.
with the character very much. But yes, Just Daggers, John the host. Thank you for joining me. Of course, you can find Just Daggers on YouTube as well as his channel, along with his other co-host on Cannibal Video. And you can find John the host doing the Cult of Films and other videos on his channel. They Said, We Said. So make sure you check them out. But last time you guys were on here, we talked about Romancing the Stone. And since it's spooky season, I thought I'd get you guys back on to do a horror movie. And one of my favorite fun horror movies to talk about is Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. I think it's a pretty underrated horror film and a shitload of fun. When did you guys first see this movie?
I saw it when I was way too young. This came out in 1996 or something like
95,
that.
yeah.
95, a great year actually. So it was the first year I moved to Vegas, and I remember sneaking into the movie theater to see this one because I was a huge Tales from the Crypt fan. I loved the Crypt Keeper, and I was I'm sorry, I'm gonna say the P word. I was a pansy when I was a young, as far as horror went. It took me a long time to really appreciate horror because my sisters were horror fiends, and they scared the shit out of me because they're always watching some fucked up shit. So, but I always, for whatever reason, thought the Crypt Keeper was so funny when I was a kid because he tells dad jokes.
Yeah, he's full of puns.
Greetings, infestors. I'll be with you in a moment. I was just putting these gross profits away for safekeeping.
Yeah, so I snuck in, I watched it, and I'm just like, this kind of helped me find that horror could be pretty accessible because, like Tales from the Crypt, in that ethos, this is a very, very funny film. So yeah, I vividly remember this at a tender age of like 10 or 11, loving the film, and it only has gotten better. It's like a fine wine.
I remember this one, so also watching it pretty young, but the first time I saw it was on network TV, so it was not the same movie. And
Little
it would be
edited
on
for
network
television.
quite a bit. And I remember the first time being at like someone's house with like cable, and it was on. They're like, "Oh, you want to watch them?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I love that movie." And then I was like, "Oh, this movie's way different now."
That's awesome. Yeah, I first saw this movie when it came out in the theater, and I was way too young to see it. I think I was like 12, maybe 13. And I went with my friend Christy Worley, and I don't remember how we purchased tickets, but the guy who checks your tickets was like, "You guys aren't old enough to come see this movie." And me being a quick thinker, I'm like, "Oh, my mom already went in. We just went and got snacks, but my mom's already went in." And so he let us go in. And so I saw the movie, and the first gore that you see in this film really is Billy Zane punching through a guy's head and ripping it off because it gets stuck.
Heads up.
So, I mean, you dive right in to the holy fuck in this movie.
Heads up!
That scene is so much better than like it's just like he then punches somebody with the head like it's brass knuckles.
Yes.
It's so good.
It's
like,
so fucking good.
and it doesn't disappoint. It does keep up that kind of trend of awesome stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it does. Well, we start out the movie just like you start out an episode of Tales from the Crypt. You get a little stinger with the Crypt Keeper. He's directing this episode of Tales from the Crypt or something like that. We've got John Larroquette as the killer.
You call that acting?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I do call it acting.
And there's some banter back and forth between them before he introduces us to our main story, Demon Knight.
Can I just say that the most unnerving thing is seeing the Crypt Keeper walk around?
You're no Gory Cooper.
Because he's usually just sitting there.
Like,
The effect is like bad half the time because it's just like
He's just like
posited on, like the neck doesn't line up at times.
like
I'm like,
Jason
what
of
is
the
happening?
Argonauts type. Yeah, it looks really horrible.
Yeah, it's a mix of like there's like a skinny guy where they put the head on top of, and then there's like the puppet stuff.
And I won't say what bits I'm talking about.
Puppet
Yeah.
stuff always better. Always.
Always
Better.
better.
Oh yeah.
Everybody loves puppets.
Yes.
And if they don't, they should.
Hello, kiddies. So glad you could join me.
And then we get the opening to our film, and we've got William Sadler, wonderful character actor, awesome,
So good.
love that guy.
One of my favorite.
Yes, he's really, really good. And Billy Zane, and they're chasing each other down. And for a good portion of the opening of this film, you don't know who's the good guy and who's the bad guy, really, until you get that first big gore interaction at the hotel. You don't know who to root for. You don't know who's good. You don't know who's bad. You don't know
Like
who's
the
on
reveal.
which side. Yes, a very, very good reveal.
All right, look, officers. The man I'm chasing now, he's dangerous. If he's in your town, you got a problem.
But I love the setting that they've chosen for this film. I always love desert horror movies, and this one is no exception.
Yeah, small town in general, great settings for horror movies because you're like, help is not coming.
No.
Yeah, this is it feels like a redressed horror version of Assault on Precinct 13.
Yes.
It's that tower defense kind of film, and it's so smartly done. And they don't make films like this anymore.
No.
They literally rented out a hangar in Van Nuys Airport, and they dressed it all in it's a black background, and they built this thing so they could literally do whatever the fuck they wanted. Another cool behind the scenes, I know this is like, ooh, trivia.com.
No, I love this stuff.
It's where every time they were going to say action, they would have to fire a blank up at a pigeon's nest because it would be like and it was wrecking the daily, so they had to keep scaring the fucking pigeons away. And he's just William Sadler's like, it would work because the pigeons would shut the fuck up for at least 45 minutes, and if they back up again, they'd have to shoot another blanket.
There are so many great character actors in this film. Let me bring up the list because we talked about hang on here, my computer's really slow and I didn't have this pulled up beforehand.
We got Dick Miller, who's a favorite of everybody.
Oh my god, Dick Miller, he's just great. I mean, he elevates anything he's in. You know.
On second thought, maybe I should have given it all to the monkeys.
Is he still alive? I meant to look at him.
No, he passed away just recently, I think, just in the past few years.
Yeah, I really like him. Everything he's in, even the little bit parts, really good.
Yes, he's just so good. It's so nice to see him pop up in anything. It's just like a fun little treat.
I mean, this is written really well, and it was written by the original writers to be a more like true horror film. And I actually would like to see, now that everything's getting redone and everything, have this get the Evil Dead treatment where they take it in a more brutal the original vision for this was supposed to be really brutal, but you know, the Tales from the Crypt crew bought the rights to this, and they're like, well, we have to change this quite a bit, so you know, you have to add the camp to keep it in line. But what sets this apart from Bordello of Blood, because I think that was an utter failure. I fucking hate that movie. But this, just like you said, Lindsay, it's the cast. The cast is perfect. You don't have A-list actors, but you have some real great character actors mixed in with the likes of Thomas Hayden Church and JPS, Jada Pinkett, Hada Pinkett Smith. I mean, it was such a good mixture.
Yes, it's fully stacked. We've got Billy Zane, we've got Bill Sadler, Jada Pinkett before she added the Smith, we've got Brenda Backey, CCH Pounder, Dick Miller, Thomas Hayden Church, John Shuck, Gary Farmer, Charles Fleischer. Just so many good.
Fucking Roger Rabbit.
Yes. They took his Mr. Zippy patch. Oh my God.
And like that's not bad enough. He took my Mr. Zippy patch.
The basic storyline of this is, and we're told in flashback scenes throughout the film, is Bill Sadler he's a protector. He is the guardian of this key, and this key is the last one that the demons need. There's 7 keys. It's the last one that they need to return darkness to the earth and for hell to reign on earth. And Billy Zane is the collector. He is the head demon that's charged with getting this final key. And there's all sorts of cockamamie rules about there's got to be 7 people and 7 stars, and
it's like tumblers in a lock. Everything has to line up. 7 stars, 7 people.
Yeah.
Which they reference. I don't make.
He's
the
like,
rules.
I don't make up the rules.
So good.
God damn it! I'm not making these rules up.
And there's stuff with the demon's eyes, but that doesn't work on Billy Zane because it's only lower level demons. And he's like, I don't make up this shit. That's just the way it is. So it's kind of self-references how ridiculous parts of it is.
God, I wish I had that bottle of vodka now.
Absolutely.
It's a little fast and loose with some things. Like, I would have liked a little more rules in terms of like the blood itself and how it gets replenished. Because the idea that like, oh, there's still some of Jesus's blood in there, and like, have you only been using that little bit you got from the guy in like World War I from now till then? Because I watched you use half a bottle like just in this house.
It's a red blend. It's a good red blend.
Well, I would have liked something of like some Jesus-y thing, like, oh no, it's not just water into wine. Any liquid I put in there, when the sun shines first of the new day, it fills back up and it turns back to the blood, like something like that. And I do think you're right. This should get the revamped treatment, but I think it should get bought by like Amazon or Netflix and made into a series, because I think it would be stronger if you had that play out, that longer bit there.
Yeah, because there's so much you can do, because I mean, they even leave it open for sequels. They've got the new collector coming after Jada Pinkett, after she gets turned into the carrier, and you could just keep
Demon
going.
Knight.
The Demon Knight. You could just keep going and going and going, and you could go into the past, you can go into the future, you can do so many different things with.
I feel like the series is just Preacher.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well, no word of God, which would have been helpful.
Yeah. Without the cheat code, right? Yeah.
It's a very one-sided battle. Just think of unlimited demons versus you, and you're like, well, what do I have? The knowledge that I could poke him in the eye, Three Stooges style, and kill him? That's all I got. I would have liked more of like at the daybreak they die or something, because he kept saying we only have to make it till
survive the night. Yeah.
So like, let's lean into that more. I want to know more things, because Jada now walked away with not a lot of knowledge, honestly.
No,
for her new role in protecting the more than just our world, like the universe.
The universe,
You gotta learn on the job.
Yeah, it's be trial by fire for her.
But that fire affects everybody.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. If she fucks up, we're all screwed.
Breaker didn't have time to tell you everything, huh? That eyeball shit only works on low-level demons.
Can we just say, like, Ernest Dickerson, what an unlikely director to this. He is I think at this point best known for being the director of Bulletproof, the Adam Sandler and Damon Wayans vehicle.
Yeah, and he's done quite a bit of TV stuff.
He did a lot of TV. He did some Walking Dead. He did do so he has that like stripped down, tactile kind of feel. His biggest claim to fame was being Spike Lee's cinematographer on Malcolm X. So he has this like very specific vision, and I like that he kind of diversified the cast from the original script to make, you know, at this point, this is early 90s, he's just like, we're gonna make a strong black female, and boy did they ever. I think they really succeeded without it feeling like shoot in. It didn't feel out of place.
No, it didn't. No, she fit very organically. No one in this film stuck out as not belonging.
No.
Everyone gelled together very, very well. And because I think originally they wanted Cameron Diaz for Jada Pinkett's role, which I don't think would have worked very well.
Cameron Diaz at that, like, she had a very different look in the 90s.
She did.
She almost had a scary look where I'd be like, oh, she's very serious. I can believe this.
Because her first major film was The Mask.
The Mask,
yeah. But no, I think this was one of Jada Pinkett's biggest roles to date.
And she was, I guess she was kind of all like everyone else was having a blast making this film. She was more all business. Every time they would be done, like in between scenes, she would go back to her trailer, not talk to the rest of the cast, just to train, because she was just really into fitness and just trying to do that. Like
that
when
oven scrubbing arm.
Yes,
exactly.
Irene, I am trying to clean your stove. All right, now how do you expect me to get my work done if you keep bothering me?
Yeah, so I mean, there wasn't a lot of chemistry as far, but you know what, that kind of works because she is kind of everyone else is kind of more laid back, down to earth. You have like the town mom there, you have the kind of the town hooker, but this lady is like a girl in trouble. Like she's
an outcast.
She's an outcast.
They're all kind of that, they're all
she's
kind
not
of
their
outcast,
friend. She's there on work release.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be there.
It's called work release, ain't it? I swear that girl ain't got no goddamn gratitude. If I hadn't made a place for her, she'd be behind bars or dead.
Lucky kid.
And, you know, she was able to resist the temptations that Billy Zane set forth upon her, which
is such the best scene, right?
I love those scenes. I love the temptation scenes. They're done so well.
It's a Salt and Pepper video. I laugh out loud every fucking time when they show that picture of her, like
she's like
pointing at the Eiffel Tower. She's like, "Hey, girl." I just think it's the funniest shit ever.
There's a great big world out there, Geraldine. You should travel. You can see it all.
I think it's funny that Roach is the only one who doesn't get one of those sequences, and he's like, I will betray everybody. What do you mean?
Because he doesn't give a
Kill
fuck.
him if it makes you happy. I don't know.
He doesn't need to be seduced.
You know this hell on earth business? Big fucking deal. I got hemorrhoids.
And Thomas Hayden Church, he's so fucking funny. He's just the worst human being ever in this film.
Whores ain't got no friends.
He's just fucking terrible.
For me, coming off Wings too, I was like, oh wow, what a different character.
Yes, night and day.
My stomach's feeling much better now. Hi. That's the last time I store the brake fluid next to the Dr. Pepper.
This is the same character that he's in Sideways. He just plays this selfish asshole so well.
More nipple clamps in this one, but yeah.
A little bit.
Oh, my nipples are smoking.
Why did the cop take them? He's like, give me this. Like, he walks out. You know, you wouldn't believe what he's doing in there. Why did you go in with a gun in the first place? What's going on, Barney Fife? Come on.
Right? It was more like a tune-up and a lube job.
I don't want to hear about it.
You know how it is when you get your I don't want to hear about it.
Tales from the Crypt, it has to show a certain there's a boob quota that they had to meet. So
there's got to have some kind of sex appeal within the film.
Got to get that pussy off the table.
Yes.
I meant the cat.
God damn it. Get that pussy off the table. I meant the cat.
Oh my goodness.
They kind of blew the load of the boob quota in one scene for Dick Miller.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they did. And getting back to those seduction scenes, and Uncle Willie's Wonderland is what I call that scene.
That reminds me of where they sent where like Ash in the TV show. Like he was like, I just want to go to Fort Lauderdale, and like that. I was like, yeah, that's where he wants to go.
Why was Billy Zane cosplaying as Hunter S. Thompson in that
Right?
Because it's awesome. What do you mean?
Long hard one. Nothing gets you fucked up faster.
It's so bizarre.
And he's got that accent. He's like, hey, Uncle Willie.
Yeah.
I got a
the
good one,
cigar.
a nice hard one.
He's looking at you, Uncle Willie.
But it's
So
played
weird.
so well because we don't see it. He sees it first as he opens the door, and all of a sudden he's like, holy shit. And then we just see titties everywhere.
Holy shit.
Hi, Uncle Willie.
Yeah.
The little boy's in the room like, what's happening?
What's happening? Why can't I see the titties?
Uncle Willie.
But the other seduction scenes we get is it Cordelia? We get
Yes.
hers.
Yes,
Hers
Cordelia.
is more like this romantic because each one of these scenes plays into the character types so well. She's this hopeless romantic that just wants to be saved and taken away from this awful place by someone. And Billy Zane is like, I'll do that.
Tender, warm, unconditional love. I can give you that love.
I'll cross my
I
fingers.
felt
I'll
bad
do
for her,
that.
honestly. Like,
I did. She's a very sympathetic character.
yeah, you kind of just want her and what was the guy's name? Wally or whatever.
Wally.
I'm like, oh, come on, just get together. Get out of here, you crazy kids.
But then you find out he's a raging psychopath.
Right.
Oh, God. He was planning to take out the post office for Cordelia.
Yeah, but
They were trying to
everyone
be very
has something. We all have our quirks. What are you
Yes.
gonna judge them for one thing?
They were doing a little scathing social commentary and trying to be prescient because, you know, going postal was the
Postal.
thing in
Yeah.
the 90s. So he
Yes.
was the
That was
crazy
very timely.
That showed restraint, I thought, because that would have been in a normal movie of this time. Ah, we just found all the automatic weapons that we had no reason to have. Let's take out some
Yeah.
demons. There's no bullets.
Well, if he was, he didn't have any bullets to do it.
But they did have the grenade vest so
Yes.
that Irene could go full Vasquez from Alien.
Supper time.
And the cop for no reason. He just
He's
was like, I'm gonna
all
stay.
right.
Yeah.
There was
doing this.
definitely a scene where they were in love. They got cut. Because yeah, there was no reason for them to go out like that together.
No.
But that, I can understand her. She's like, I have nothing to live for. I've got no arm.
She was
And
bleeding
that
out,
arm
yeah.
rip is epically awesome.
Yes, it is. Yeah, let's talk about
Snap.
the gore
Crackle.
in this film. It's pretty well done. We get a lot of really good gore because I mean we get the head punch and rip off. We get her arm getting ripped off. We get Cordelia's giant tongue going into what's his name? Is
Oh,
that the
Danny
part?
too.
Yeah, and Danny's tongue.
Danny's
goes,
tongue,
goes
yeah.
into goes into is it Stryker? That's his name.
Breaker.
Breaker,
But
not
spelled
Stryker.
with like Y's and shit.
Yes. And then Roach's downfall, where they just all swarm him, and there's blood spraying everywhere.
Oh, Roach, there's just one more thing I forgot to mention. I lied.
So we get a lot of good gore, and they're all practically done.
Yes.
Practical effects in this film.
Jada Pinkett's dream sequence where you see him getting his chest ripped
He's
apart.
all
I'm
ripped
like,
up, and they're
"Yeah,
all like
good.
digging
Yeah,
in
get
it.
it.
Really
Oh.
good scene.
It was a very good one. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And you see them like touching the back of her picture, and the blood's coming down.
We did that effect in a high school play I was in.
Really?
We did the haunting, and we just like cut out a piece of a door and put like the nylon there to do that thing. And I was just like, it just made me think of my high school like play here. So I'm like, that's a very cheap effect, but it's really good in this. Like it works as it starts bleeding. It starts, you know, that starts kind of like rosebudding out, and then they drop it, and just that really cool shot of William Sadler just ripped apart.
You knew they only had one take on that because the blood didn't hit perfectly where they wanted
Sure.
to when I first joined. They're like, fucking just do more. Okay, we're good.
Creature effects too.
Yes.
I love that I can't remember the creature effects artist. It's not like
Todd Masters company.
Yeah.
I think did a majority of it.
He fought tooth and nail because I guess originally they were just all supposed to look like Billy Zane, the demons. They were just supposed to be like people in like trench coats and tuxes and stuff with sunglasses, and then the deal was they put their sunglasses down, their eyes would glow, and so you'd have to pop out their eyes. He's like,
way better with this.
We are doing a Tales from the fucking Crypt. Like we need, this is called Demon Night. We need demons in here.
Demons.
Oh, it's so good. Like the creature effects, and they go close up. They were trying to cash in on the 90s like piercing fad. So some of them have like pierced nipples and nose rings.
And they've got like the high ponytail.
Yeah,
it's very like barbarian-esque. And for some reason they look like just fucked up troll dolls. A
little bit.
I can see it. They have a great look to them, though. I would be like, yeah, put those in lots of things. I enjoy that, especially if you were to go on and make more of these. All the demons, they're generic. Just keep
just keep using them and using them.
And just this right here, like Dick Miller's makeup is that's like, to me, that's an iconic horror image.
It
is just that picture, because I remember seeing that picture a lot, and I don't even think I knew what it was from, or I forgot or whatever. I'm just like, that is such an iconic look, and I love that image, and in the movie it's only a half a second, and then
it's not very long.
Yeah, it moves on, but it's so good. Like the prosthetics in this look very good. For a silly movie, right? This is just like a throwaway movie, and they actually gave a shit and did things correctly.
The time period also helped it, where those green eyes and the green explosions and stuff, the way they did that versus how they would do it now, it's like, oh, it's so much better then. Why don't we bring it back? Because it's cheaper to do it crappily. Well, fuck.
Right?
It looks worse.
And I thought they melded pretty well practical and digital effects in this. I mean, there's some stuff that looks a little hokey just because of the time period that it was done in, like the flame penis at the end.
And you're really starting to piss me off! Dumb boy!
I'm sorry.
His burning loins.
His burning loins come out, and he professes his love, for Geraldine.
Geraldine, you.
Oh my goodness.
His character motivation, Billy Zane said in an interview, he's like, I want to be Robin Williams's genie from Aladdin from hell. And it done it. You did it. Like 100%, because it's so goofy and it's so out of place, because he is chewing the scenery to death, and
he is.
Anybody home? Come on out, everybody! It's time to play. Hello.
Or not.
The fact that he's so madcap and so fucking crazy, and everyone else is essentially playing it straight.
Yes,
it elevates their performances.
Yes, it does. I love the little touches that they came up with, like the cowboy shit when he's doing that little thing, and when he pops the sponge out of his mouth.
Yes.
The blood seal.
It's such a cool little touch. Just little things like that are sprinkled throughout this film that I just love. And each character kind of has that, like whether they're drinking or they're smoking or they have some other little thing that they do, some other little mannerism, and it just works so well, because you likened it before to Assault on Precinct 13 or The Thing, these tower defense films, these isolation films, and these kind of films only work if you have fleshed out enough characters. And I mean, not all of these characters are fully three-dimensional, but you get enough of them to where you care about them. You care whether they die. You're interested in what they're doing, and they're dynamic, and they work well off of each other.
Poor guy. Hey, maybe I should give him a freebie.
Just what he needs. Someone else screwing him.
They're also
more than just
actors you know and like, so you care more when they die. You're
Yes,
like
you
no,
do.
Dick Miller, whoa!
Right?
Yeah.
And you may not know their names, but you're like, oh, I've seen that guy in so much other stuff.
Yeah.
So even there, you get the connection, even if you don't know who they are.
That can go both ways, though. In this, I feel like it is this perfect blend. Sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, that's not Robin Hood. Like, I know that. That's blah, blah, blah. Like, in this, there's none of that, like, oh, because none of the characters are trying to be something. They're like, it's like, oh, these are those people, this that thing. So, like, it all just works nicely with the added bonus of, and I like you already.
Yes.
Now become endearing to me. Like, like it's so
yeah, it's
so
cast
beautiful.
very well. Whoever did the casting in this really paid attention to what the characters were and what they represented, and the director really let them shine in those character roles.
Well, I love that someone had the balls to let William Sadler be a front man.
Yes.
Because every movie that I've seen William Sadler in, I always finish it going, I wish there was more William Sadler. Because he's always such, and it's weird because he's usually the character.
Yes.
Because like he's death in Bill and Ted's.
Yes.
Hit. A hit. You have sunk my battleship.
Excellent!
Like in Discerned Behavior, he's the Kurt Vonnegut obsessed janitor and all this.
Come and get it, you blue bastard!
Like
Die Hard.
Yeah, exactly. He's always doing a thing, and his groundedness as a leading person, it's just so spot on. I love his role in this.
There are only two things we can use against them. The blood that's in this key.
It's blood?
And anything that destroys their eyes. Frees their tortured souls.
Well, he's giving you so much. It's a very dialed back performance for him because he's not using an accent. There's no crazy kookiness about him. He is playing it completely straight.
What happens when you run out of blood?
They bring back the darkness.
And so when you pair that with Billy Zane and his zaniness, it just works.
It's a great subversion of expectation because you look at him and you're like, he kind of looks like a bad guy. He's usually second fiddle. Billy Zane, handsome leading man type.
Sure.
And the way it starts, like you said, you don't know who the good guy, the bad guy is. You would naturally lean to the guy in the white hat is the good guy.
Yep.
And the guy with the gun shooting at the guy in the white hat, probably a bad guy. And then just very quickly, you're like, oh shit, okay, I like it.
Because I think in some alternate universe, Nick Cage was cast as Breaker.
Every part.
Well, yeah, of course, but especially like this just seems like a Nick Cage kind of role, and I think that would have been too much chocolate cake. I think it would have been too much indulgence if you had Nick Cage going nuts and then also Billy Zane. So it was the perfect balance of these two actors knowing who, where to take it and where not to take it.
Yeah, no, you need that juxtaposition because if you do, you've got two people just playing it up, then it just becomes completely ridiculous, and you don't have it weighted with anything.
Would you mind dumping that out before you place it inside?
Sure.
No, don't do it. He's not what he says he is, Willie. Willie!
just pop that lid.
It's a great juggling of things here, and that combined with the time period, the actual practical effects, the settings, it's a perfect storm here. It makes you wonder why they didn't get more success with following things. Like the movie ends with a plug for the next movie that never
happened. Then look out for my next motion picture, Dead Easy, coming very soon to a theater near you.
Right. And it's very strange, especially as you said earlier, you have this great empowerment moment for not only a female, but like a female of color. And then the next movie was going to be a large cast of like African-American characters.
Yeah,
and then
because
let's drop that because then
we got to have Dennis Miller doing this.
Yeah.
Insufferable.
That is the craziest fucking thing I have ever. I dig it. That is the second craziest fucking thing.
Go ahead and go over to my channel after watching this. Watch my review of Bordello of Blood and hit the thumbs down button just to say "fuck you, Dennis Miller." I hate that movie so much. Do you know the third? Because this was supposed to be a trilogy of films, not really connected. Do you know what the third one was supposed to be?
They did do a third one. A third one came out, but
From Dusk Till Dawn was
Yep.
was a front
Yes.
runner,
Yeah.
and there was
Yeah.
something else. There was one other one.
Well, Tarantino's just like, you're not paying
Yeah,
me.
well,
You're not paying me enough.
there
And I
was-
can't say the N-word, you know.
I think it was Dead Easy was supposed to be the second one. That was like a Mardi Gras.
That was the one that
zombie
was gonna
film.
be. It was gonna be like a cast of black characters, and they filmed it with white characters and said, "Oh, we're gonna get in trouble because this is way racist to do it this way," and they just never released it.
Oh my
But
god.
yeah, it was Dusk Till Dawn, and it was something else that everyone knows, and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I definitely heard the From Dusk Till Dawn thing, but I didn't hear anything else.
I've got it here. Let me look it up.
And I mean, there is what they use the key in Bordello of Blood, right? Like that's the only holdover.
Yeah. Oh, the other one was Body Count.
Body Count.
And that one went unproduced. But they listed off a bunch that were supposed to be.
I was thinking of the Ice Cube song, and I thought I knew what you were talking about.
Body Count.
Never mind.
But yeah, they did a whole bunch of ones that they listed, but I can't remember exactly what they were that were supposed to be.
I had it opened up somewhere.
Films.
Oh, The Frighteners.
Oh, that's what it was. Yes.
Yeah, so like where you're like, oh, those are like epically awesome movies.
Yeah.
And like and the plan was to release them on their own and then to bring them back, add comic book shit into it, put up the beginning with the Crypt Keeper, and then re-release it as like, a thing for the sequence. But
Yeah.
it didn't work out as things just, I think, kept falling apart and the money wasn't there to pay
Yeah.
off these big names to get into these things.
No. And I mean, this one had a budget of 13 million, which I mean, that's
13 million?
only 13 million. I mean, that's estimated. It might have been a little more, but they did a lot with that 13
For
million.
mid-90s horror, 13 million is a lot. Yeah.
It is a lot.
But they used it, right?
Yes,
for
they
sure.
used every penny, and they put it to use in the right places. And it grossed just over 21,000. So I mean, it's not it wasn't
21,000
or 21 million. Sorry.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is the worst flop of all time.
The biggest bomb of his.
So I mean, it didn't flop, but it didn't do gangbusters or anything like that. It did well enough for them to go on and do a second one,
Ugh.
but it was just a shit sequel.
Wish they wouldn't have. Yeah.
And I wish they would have been able to do the ones that they planned on, or make a sequel to this one, because there's so much you could do with it. Like
Billy Zane's down. Every interview I see him in, he's just like, I would love to do.
Oh my god, he's so fucking good at this character. I mean, he's said many times this is like his favorite performance that he's ever done, because he has so
They
much fun
digitally
with
alter his face to make him as young, because demons don't age.
it. No, not at all.
He didn't crack at all. Billy Zane's still as sexy as ever. The executive producer list on this is like so crazy. It's like Walter Hill, Robert Zemeckis. It's like everybody in the kitchen sink. Richard Donner.
Yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg. What the hell is she doing in there?
Exactly. But again, is Danny Elfman just not the music of the 90s? Like,
Oh my
just give him
gosh,
the
Of the good things.
Of the good things.
Yeah. I mean, he's got that wonderful gothic thread through all of his music that I just love. He does it just fits so well.
Yeah.
It's just a sign of quality. You're like, if you see the name, you're like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know where I am.
Yes, and I mean, this film's got a great soundtrack. In addition to the score, I mean, you've got Filter, you've got Rollins Band, Pantera, Machine Head, Megadeth makes an appearance. Just some great heavy metal shit.
Yeah.
Paired with some great horror.
Headbangers Ball of the 90s in a movie, encapsulated.
And I mean, obviously this film is a bit of a cult classic, but not a lot of people talk about it. I've seen very little on the internet or other YouTube channels talking about this film, even though I know a lot of people really enjoy it.
I think that's going to be a thing, especially going forward in life, now that people are all on these streaming services to get their entertainment. So if you're just born, like even just a few years after us, like you didn't catch these things on network TV, you didn't go to theater, like these, just lost the time. It's really sad, but often I'm like, hey, remember this? Nope. You ever see that one? Never heard of it. I out of your goddamn mind. And like, these are things I'm like, that's Steven Spielberg. Like, these are real fucking movies. Is it on Netflix? Not right now.
Well, at least for me, I was sitting there and I was looking at, because I was like, I want to review a Tales from the Crypt movie. And I sat down and I love one and I hate the other. But I hated one more than I loved the other. So I just wanted to like air my frustration.
Your grievances.
Exactly. So, and I think that if you type in Tales from the Crypt movie, you'll get more Bordello of Blood reviews for that same purpose. People just were so pissed off, especially because it followed up something like this, and that it was just such a like hunk of horseshit that's more, I don't know, it was more cathartic to talk about. I mean, I'm having a blast talking about Demon Knight tonight, but it was just like, this has to happen. This has to be out in the ether on the internet that I fucking hate, you know, Bordello of Blood.
We'll gift that.
I hate Bordello of Blood.
Write it down, take a picture. I don't give a fuck.
No, and I think, especially on the internet, hating something sells more than loving something. I mean, I just find that that's just tends to be the case. But I think most of the people would agree with you that it sucks shit.
It makes for an easier video too. If like you say there's more videos on that one, it's because it's easier to talk about how you don't like something than to say you like something. And not even is it just easier, it makes for better content.
It does.
If y'all's going to round circle going, and that part, that was good. And
That's
this part
cool. Remember
also
this part?
good.
It was
It's
so
like that
awesome.
part, loved it.
I'm not that guy though. I think the only other like cult of films that I shit on it was So I Married an Axe Murderer, and that was only because it sucked so bad watching it as a 30-year-old rather than
Compared
watching
to what you had.
Yeah, I had such a different like mindset of that film when it came out, and I was like, oh, it was funny because I was young and Mike Myers, but now I'm like, Mike Myers is really, really hacky watching it as a 30-year-old. And so like, that was the only one that I got caught by surprise. I don't like being that negative Nancy, but I just, for whatever reason, Bordello of Blood boiled my blood enough to where I just had to tell people not to watch it and just to go watch Demon Knight.
Yes, and I think all three of us agree that is the consensus about Bordello of Blood.
Stefan is an Angie Everhart apologist, so excluding I don't know.
This movie is vastly superior. This is a great movie, like not even just of these types of movies. Like this is a great fucking movie, and will hold up against a lot of things that are bigger than it.
Yes,
I do think it has a lot of room for improvement, as I do think most things.
Yes,
but
it does have its issues. I mean, I think the pacing is pretty well done. I mean, it never drags. It's a short, quick. Once it starts, it doesn't really stop.
Yeah.
But there's some writing things that are a little clunky. There's some rules that are a little muddy as to what's going on. But everything else distracts you from that. Everything else, the acting, the characters, the people that are in it, the gore, the special effects, the performances, all of that elevates it to where all that stuff is just kind of swept by the wayside.
Yeah.
And makes up for it and carries the film. And this is I love this movie, so we pretty much take a movie and suck its dick for an hour. But I mean, all these films have their faults, but we love them in spite of those faults. And for whatever reason, whether it's when we saw it as a kid, so we have sentimental reasons for it, or we love the performances so much, or it hit us at a right time in our youth to make a lasting impression upon us. And this is one of those films that just left such a lasting impression upon me, where I will always go back to watch it. But I will always love this film and go back to watch it over and over again, especially around Halloween time. It's a fun one to put on.
That is very, you said it perfectly. Like you nailed it as far as this is a very, very rewatchable film.
Yes.
It doesn't overstay its welcome. It knows when to stop. And it also, like the filler isn't too bad, because really you could even see the padding in this. The padding is really the Christ thing, right?
Yeah.
That's
the little flashback stuff.
Every time there's a lull in the action or whatever, they just do a quick flashback. And that in itself is kind of interesting, because the movie is a single location film, and so you're just here for so long. So when it jumps to something else, you're like, oh,
what's this?
This is your brain doesn't know. You know, it's not. You don't think it's filler, but your brain knows it's filler.
Yes.
But you're
just like dream sequences. This gives you that nice pattern break.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel out of place either, and it feels a little necessary because it's so brief that you don't get a lot of backstory and character building other than, you know, this is the so-and-so, this is the so-and-so, this is the so-and-so, and it does enough to flesh out Breaker's character and tell you everything you need to know without force feeding you. It's like you said, paced perfectly.
Yes, yeah, and that's what is nice about movies like this. I mean, it's just over an hour and a half. I think it's like an hour 36 minutes, something like that. And the pace just goes. And once Billy Zane's fist goes through that guy's face, it's just balls to the wall.
The same kind of like a turn on moment as like From Dusk Till Dawn, right?
Yes, very much so. All of a sudden, it's like. Yeah,
totally different movie.
They're
totally
both
different.
of them fall into that category of if you just had this on and like, you know, especially with TV was the thing, and you didn't even know what it was called. Yeah, it just was playing. The first moment when he punched that head, you're like, wait a minute, what is fuck
this?
am I watching?
Rewind. Did that just fucking happen? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's what was so great about watching things sight unseen. And I try to reclaim that nowadays. If I see an interesting poster, just hit play and don't read anything about it. And you'd be like, oh my God, what ride am I on? Like those movies are the best. And they've lost so much now because trailers are cut where there's 15 trailers for every market. Oh, we need the drama people to know that has this in it. Oh, the heart people this. Oh, let me show you 15 seconds from the ending of the movie because that's the highest budget shot. Goddamn idiots, ruin everything.
Yes, or you get on Twitter and everyone's like, oh my God, the twist ending on this is so fucking crazy. And it's like, oh great, well now I know something crazy is gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, because trailers have become an event now because social media is so popular. So that's the free marketing, right? It's just
it is.
Yeah.
And they do like, oh, watch the first 5 minutes of this movie. It's like, no, show me the teaser trailer and then I'm good. I'll come see it. I will still come see it. I don't need to see anymore. I want to be surprised. I don't want to have anything ruined for me. I want to sit back, strap in, and let it happen.
We don't need Chewie, we're home every single fucking
I just need
time.
a tagline or like someone's like a critic's quote, like just one and it said a hard R rated version of ET, and I was like, I'm fucking in. That's all I need. That's all I need.
Right. And that's how we used to find movies like this. You'd go to the video store, you'd see the fucking VHS cover, and you'd be like, oh, that looks fucking cool. That looks fucked up. I'm gonna watch that. Maybe you look at the back of the box, but really it's that front cover. And this movie didn't have a bad front cover either. It's pretty cool looking. So
and you'd have a weirdo like John the host, because I used to work at Blockbuster, be like, this is fucking
fucking cool. You should check this shit out.
VHS were great because you'd look at the cover, which was a drawing that wasn't anything from the movie.
Yes.
You flip it over, it'd be one frame that must have been a deleted scene. And you're like, oh, yeah, this looks good. Wait a minute, where the fuck does that happen?
It was an adventure every time.
Sure was.
But before we go, what was your guys' favorite scene or sequence from this film? If you had to pick one, what would be your favorite little snippet of this film?
This is all you, Dags.
I definitely like the part when he cuts back to World War I, and I would like that to get expounded on. Like if they would ever go back and make a sequel, prequel of this, and just pick up right there, because he didn't get told anything. Like you see, like Jada actually got a pretty good handoff in comparison.
Yeah.
And what it must be to learn that stuff on the fly, because. It looked like, and I could be mistaken, that they were just killed by Germans, all the people around him. I don't think demons assaulted them in the night. So I don't think he learned anything. I think it was literally like, it's yours now. Oh, star power. Okay, what? Because it's like a monumental task to keep this key safe from demons. The weight of the literal universe is on your shoulders. And they're just going to come for you in the night and just like, oh, he stabbed me once. Oh, I'm dead. I lost the universe. Like, that's crazy. That needs to have a telling. That's the TV show. That's the movie. That's the scene that like makes me think the most. And I like that stuff a lot.
Sir, I don't understand.
Now take it.
No, that is very, very true. John, you got one?
I've already said like 4 of them.
Yes.
But if I were to pick another one, it's one that you kind of alluded to with just the sponge popping out. but more, expanding on that a little bit, just the back and forth between him and Thomas Hayden Church.
Mhm.
So much fun, because Thomas Hayden Church was the other person that was chewing the scenery also.
Yes.
And they just didn't give those two screen time at the same time, I think for a reason, because they were both fulfilling the same kind of roles. But when they actually got to do it, it was like the money shot of the film, and their little back and forth of how much of a piece of shit this guy is. And then just literally the line of, oh, and hey, buddy, also, I lied. And it's just such a cool, sequence.
The world needs more people like you, Mr. Roach.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love everything about that.
Of course, you don't mind if we kill the others, do you?
Hey, if it makes you feel good, do it.
Makes you feel good, do it.
To pick my favorite one, it's the JPS's Hey Girl poster, but besides that, it's those two's interaction.
The lovable assholes that are definitely assholes.
Yes.
Hey, they hate that.
Lindsay, what is your favorite?
Well, we've talked about a ton of my favorites, but one we didn't really touch on was everything that CCH Pounder does. I love her in this film. She's so good. And when she has her tiny little seduction scene where he's like, here, you can have your arm. And she's like, nerd, with her little nub.
Is that a yes?
No, that's me giving you the finger, asshole.
I'll get back to you.
She's so good in this because she's just so matter of fact, and I just love her attitude throughout the entire thing. Where she's drinking the vodka and she's like, "Yeah, vodka's kicking in."
Leave the
that would not help. That would hurt so much.
Right?
Your blood's thin and just shooting out of your stump.
Probably not a good idea.
They pumped her up.
It, right?
They gave her extra clothes because she was, I guess, too young for the role, and they wanted her to be like,
this
old,
matronly type of character.
Exactly. Yeah, they frumped her up. Exactly, Stefan. And then also it served double duty because they got to
remove the padding, put the arm in.
Exactly. You got it.
Nice. Well, any last thoughts about Tales from the Crypt Demon Night before we sign off?
It's good. Watch it.
Yes.
Just a clip that I want to make sure you have the ability to show is the portly cop going into the tunnel, and he like hits his head. He's like, hey, oh gee. And I rewound and played that like 4 times. Because like I don't think that was I can't imagine that's in the script.
No,
like
probably
I think
not.
that like just a piece of the set fell and oh gee, and just goes into the tunnel.
Ernest Dickerson's like, yeah, we're gonna keep that one.
It's a gem.
Yeah, it's like that scene in Battlefield Earth.
Spoiler alert, that's our next I Love This Movie, right, Lindsay?
Oh yeah.
I think Chris has that one covered for everybody.
I still want to put that in the ether. The more people talking about that piece of shit, the better.
Oh my God. That is a giant piece of shit. Well, that is going to do it for this episode of I Love This Movie. Guys, where can everyone find you?
You found me. I'm here. Watch the Lindsay Washburn channel. Subscribe, share it around, tell everyone that she's talking about movies.
Yes.
Stefan?
You can also see him on Cult of Films. You can see him.
Oh.
You can go to justdaggers.com. That has everything I do.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. And thank you all for joining us for this episode of I Love This Movie, where we talked about Tales from the Crypt Demon Night. If you have not seen it, go watch it, and then tell everyone else you know to go watch this movie, because we love it and you should too, and so should everybody else. So we will check you later. Bye.